Easy can certainly hold his own, and there's a player not to be underestimated.
All right, which map are we going to be playing on? That is where I want to turn my attention for. This. Nobody tells me actually what we're playing. Villa! All right, let's go. You know what? It's full of curiosities.
I love listening to Milosh's reactions. They're the best part of this
APAC Villa
segment.
League.
Honestly, look, I can deal with that for a while until it becomes the new Oregon, as even a production team is apparently calling it. For me, Villa is full of curiosities and beautiful things that I would like to have in my own apartment, so we can deal with that. Now, Nora-Rengo had the final say. The remove consulate. Is this the right decision coming into this matchup against a team like Giants that we know is very good in pretty much every situation?
Yeah, Nora-Rengo actually have lost Villa quite a few times recently. They lost it to Fav Gaming in the Japanese Nationals, but they did beat Electrify. I don't think that's a particularly good like stat to have though. Like beating Electrify, they also beat another team in the Japanese Nationals, but like a tier 2 team, so not that great. Whereas Giants, like these guys beat Cloud9 on this map, and we've seen how good Cloud9 can be overall and on this map, and they even managed to get 4 attacks out of their 6 in that game, which is really unusual, especially as we saw a hugely defensive side of Villa just now. So I'm definitely favoring Giants on this map.
I have to agree. This is a map that Nora-Rengo really like to ban. They've banned Villa 9 times in the last couple of months. It's one of their most banned maps. Their strongest map is really Clubhouse, but that's also one of Giants' strongest maps, and it was actually Giants who banned it out anyway. I think Nora-Rengo come in with the weaker map pool off the get-go, so regardless, they're going to be on the back foot, but Villa's going to be a tough one.
How do you deal with Giants then in this case, James? Because it seems like it's very much an uphill battle for Nora-Rengo in every way.
I think Nora-Rengo got to be really mindful of their attacks, and we've seen a lot of Giants are a very free-flowing team on their defense. They're really confident in their roam game, but also in their chemistry that they can always be within refragging distance. I think Nora-Rengo had to come in with strong strategies, and in particular, don't expose weaknesses. I think that's the thing that once Giants identifies that there's something they can exploit, whether it's a flank you're not watching or a particular angle where they can see for you or whatever, they are going to punish you for that. So I think Nora-Rengo just need to try and not expose their weaknesses too much and try and maintain control of the game.
I think one of the potential positives that Nora-Rengo could lean on, when we look back at the last game they played against Xavier, it was particularly pertinent the fact that Nora-Rengo lost the first cycle of attacks. But when the second cycle came back around, they won all 3 of them. And what that suggests to me is that Nora-Rengo have the capability of making the correct adaptations to be able to run the rings around the defensive opponents that they need to. Now, Giants are, well, I was going to say maybe a different breed of team to Xavier, but judging by their performances, particularly in Phase 2 of Stage 1, that's not necessarily true. But Giants are clearly, I think, the toughest opponent that Nora-Rengo are going to face or have faced. So their ability to adapt is going to be tested significantly more, but regardless, it's still something we've seen them do decently and improve upon in this stage especially. When you look back at last stage, wasn't so good. They've looked a lot more put together this stage, and I think that is potentially where we can derive some hope for this team from.
Well, James, we always talk about like signature operators. Giants, you know, they're known for Monty, etc., but it's not like this is a one-trick pony that they, you know, just have to bring out or else they can never win, right?
Yeah, look, I might be proved wrong here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nora-Rengo don't ban the Monty and Giants don't play the Monty, especially on Villa where there's a lot of ability to C4, and I don't necessarily think that Giants need to rely on that. I think they know that they're quite a universal team. What I am definitely going to be looking at in this game from Nora-Rengo's perspective, of course, they're the ones who have to prove themselves, right? Everyone would predict Giants for this game. When we eventually get the poll vote, I'm sure it's going to be 80% or above in their favor. So it's Nora-Rengo who needs to step up, right? But guess what? Ramu is stepping in for Meryu once again. They're playing without their captain, and they're playing with Ramu, who great fragger, but struggling to hold his own in these games, and also just in general having to adapt your roles. It's not a great position for Nora to be in. I'm going to be looking at Ramu. I'm also going to be looking at Papilia to hopefully continue the form that he's had in the past few weeks. Much better than he was in previous in APAC North.
All right, Gio, James. Yeah. Let's cut it off. Sorry, but our game is ready. So let's toss it over to our casters. Fluke and Hapa, wait us. Nora-Rengo versus Giants. All yours.
Thank you, Milosh. And it is Nora-Rengo who is facing potential relegation up against the Giants, who have only lost one map in these past 16 in the group stages they've put up. And that is a very scary sight here for Nora-Rengo, especially when you're still missing your captain. Not looking good.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy day. I think we're all aware it's going to be a very tough day, unfortunately. And as you pointed out, they're also missing the main man. So when you're thinking about maps you want to come to where you have an IGL and maps you don't want to go to when you don't, a strat heavy, hefty map like Villa, it's definitely down there. I'm not going to say it's the least favorable. I would say a modern strat heavy map like Cafe or Theme is probably lowest on the board, but Villa, it requires a lot of coordination to get things off the ground at points.
Now we also had the Monty being prefaced here by Dev before, and I don't think like it would be played by Giants, only if things really go wrong. And here you see indeed the ban doesn't come out. It will be a Maverick and Thatcher ban, and while Nora starts out on the attack, and they're handicapping themselves quite a bit here, forcing to bring that Kali, so they better be prepared. And yes, the Monty is open now as the Clash gets banned. The question, however, is will Giants play it on their attacking side? Because we know how confident they can be. And like many times in the past, we've seen Monty being open, but not actually being picked up by Luna Metal. So I think it's more of a backup operator at this point, right? Like when things go wrong, you pick out that Monty. Just have something you can rely on.
That's it. And it was obviously one of those conversations where you're looking at how they can dig themselves in. We've seen some exceptional multiplayer be the difference maker previously and recently. So, hey, who knows how this will go when you're looking at it in this grand scheme. Clash being removed as well, it ties into the whole idea of you look at the dig-in meta. You look at the places where you can really solidify yourself on this map, towards Pillar, towards the Door of Study if you want to play on that side. You can also, on the Trophy Statue, dig yourself into Astro and try and batten down the hatches and hope nobody gets aggro. It gives you a bit of a lean back in a place where usually the attackers have a little bit of safety and solidity when they set themselves up around the site. But uphill battles, uphill struggles, up these lovely Italian hills and into the Giants' defense on Villa.
Very big map, really. Allows for a lot of roaming potential. You have 3 staircases to get back in. You have the main, as you see portrayed right there. Jordan just walked up them. You have the red one, and of course you have Astro. You have that big basement that often gets played by roamers who suddenly need to find themselves a way out, as being portrayed by our beautiful observer, Easy. Just also 3 staircases there, so there's like a lot of potential here to roam, and well, the defense often likes to use that. However, the direct counter to that is if you're directly attacking onto the side. If you take 90 control and study, you push from there, the roamers are not going to be able to do that much, especially not if there's a nomad on the board.
Now then, setting themselves up with a little bit of pace is something where we've seen Nora-Rengo not have a resurgence, but have a better time than they did before. Not the hardest thing in the world when they were having the worst time previous, but you're looking at 2 teams when there was kind of high expectations for both of them. Obviously, Giants have had such a meteoric run recently that, well, you are against the Giants of the region, not just in name, but in stature too. And if you can pull some rounds here, you can really start to prove something. I know it's already been pointed out, the chances and likelihood of them being able to save themselves and keep themselves going, it's not the greatest, but there's always a bit of a hope and a bit of a dream.
All right, 2 minutes. And Nora-Rengo slowly starting to take some control right here. Especially on the bottom floor. Hysterics is still out there. There is that one flank drone available to them. And all that Hysterics is doing right now is just putting down some pressure, making sure that the Nora-Rengo members are not going to be leaving the bottom floor unattended. Air jumps being deployed will be quickly dealing with that issue. And that allows them now to push through. You see the bunker buster coming out. Simatsuki, however, not able to get the first gunfight down. The trade comes in. A Speakeasy will be able to get that kill through. Right now, stuns are coming in as well, but it's a 2-on-4 situation. Looking pretty grim here for Nora-Rengo.
Yeah, the pressure's coming down onto the top of the stair set, but he can't quite find his way via the smoke canister, so you might have to rotate round to red to see if you can get in on landing instead, as Soulboy is actually the one that's going to try and apply the brace there and the pressure instead. There is some barb that'll give a game away. So is actually going to go further and further, all the way down to Astro, and take staircase number 3, because 1 and 2 apparently out of order, unfortunately. In a 4 versus 2, you've got to try and pick your fights and pick your fire exactly where you need it to be, because if you get one step wrong, it could be a problem. But there is now a Giants player rotating underneath around Zulu corridor, I believe. Yeah, Hysterics found his way under, has the C4 in hand, took a quick flight down red stairs, and is more than ready to strike back. But Papilia is striking in the meantime, digs in from Study, and at least gets Jordan out.
2 and 3. Impacts will be used. The direct opening onto the side is now there, but of course the vault control is still Giants, and that means there is plenty of angles they can use, as the shields are still up as well. I'm not sure if someone would be playing behind that. Right now Nora-Rengo is entering that side, and Hysterics has been taken out the first. Oh, that's a C4, that's going to be right on. That's Soulboy gone. And leaves it all up to Papilia now. He's getting flanked in the back as the Study control was retaken by Giants. And they will also pick up round number 1 and straight away get away with that lead after a very explosive first half, and then it is still made just to come down to a bit of an anticlimactic last second push from Nora-Rengo, which they weren't able to succeed in. And here we have it, Giants 1-0 up, which I think was a quite comfortable round.
Oh, beyond comfortable. They knew where they needed to be, why they needed to be there, instantly shut down the approach inside Study, got the diffuser cold, and it wasn't just that it came down to the push and things falling apart for Nora-Rengo. It was the very opener, before they even began to start really collapsing utility against Study, against obviously red stairs, as we said and saw. They hadn't done any work down there. It was a very last minute strategy of let's go for a big wide rotate. It was played entirely into Giants' hand. It's a defender-sided map, sure, but Giants, they're cool. They know how they want to play and know how they want to take control, and that was a perfect demonstration of the way that they do it. Never stress, never fear. Never really looks hard sometimes for Giants. Nora-Rengo, 1 round down. You're looking at trophy statuary. Let's see if we can get a little bit more panache on your actual opening into the building.
Alright, trophy stat as you just said. Let's see if there's any crazy setups to come through. See a pretty heavy downstairs hold, it looks like, with some reinforcements being put up towards the laundry side. Potentially 2 C4s being played down there as Ysera and Speakeasy both are around this area. Pantry locked off as well, and it shows you what Giants wants to achieve. They want to be playing inside kitchen dining and have the opportunity and have the ability to use the C4s from below to just pick them off as they enter, because look at this, they have Valkyrie cameras. They are located in pretty good positions just to aid these C4s to be flying in later on. And thus Nora needs to read this quickly and decide to go for a different take, and that is exactly what they're doing as they're attacking from the southern side of the map.
Well, at least they're doing it without all the bodies on the floor. This time they've realised they need to reevaluate and reapply themselves. The Valk is keeping the keen eye towards anyone that approaches towards the master bedroom balcony, and nobody, as is said and as we've seen so far. Astro's generally remaining a little bit solid, and it gives a bit of free time for Giants to reevaluate, reassess and reposition some very precious bits of utility. Still wanting some intel, and Speakeasy is kind of angling for a fight down here on the memorial room run out without anybody really getting close, though. Nora-Rengo are being very slow and steady. 3 active drones, 2 active guns, and still just setting themselves up with air jabs.
Air jabs, very helpful. Unfortunately, last round they weren't able to net the kill on who eventually would be able to get the C4 down, which completely dismantled the 2v3 attack onto the site. As the air jab caught him off for just a little bit. Unfortunately not long enough, as the ADS in the meantime getting wasted. 3 flashbangs being tossed in by Soulboy. He's not going to be able to take out the second ADS though. That means there's more utility that has to be thrown in before they can deal with these shields and deal with the players inside. And as the Finka boost comes out again, it means that surely they will be trying to force themselves in and try and go for the plant. That's exactly what Simatuki is doing right now. Where is the C4s? Where are they? Speakeasy's right below. Is he aware? Yes, he will be, but he misses the C4, and that means the plant goes down. Giants completely dismantled, and now in a 2v5 situation with both members of the bottom floor. And 30 seconds to get defusing.
Gotta give credit there to the way Nora-Rengo structured their attack. They, as I said, spent a lot of time droning, getting research and getting the intel on the bodies, but with another frag grenade that rolls down, Speakeasy is blown up at the feet of Ysera. He's looking to try and rotate and apply some pressure onto the body that has already taken so many lives, but that is another one added to the tally of Yoshingo. A great response there from Nora-Rengo. As I said, and you saw, they were very slow in setting themselves up their approach. They wanted to pace themselves. They didn't want to fall victim to the quick strike that happened before, and because of it, everything started to come to a boil in the final minute, but it came to a boil where they had full control. They had the lockdown. They had all the eyes around on the Giants players, and Giants, they were taken a little bit by surprise, I think it's fair to say.
The thing is, their whole setup was focused around they will take bedroom like any other normal team strategy that you would expect to happen up against Trophy, especially in the first round you play it. However, that didn't happen. They decided to go from the southern side, from Aviator Games on. They got 90 control, moved through, they put some pressure onto Trophy, they managed to get control of Statuary, and then the plan comes down, and suddenly you do not have any information to get these C4s. And that is where the strategy fell apart. Just simply because Nora-Rengo didn't push the way they were supposed to push for that strategy to work, for the C4s to be able to find joy, to find kills. And as they didn't come down, well, suddenly they were outnumbered on side with a grand advantage of 2 people, because there was 2 people offside. Remember that. That means you're fighting 3 on 5, and if the Finka comes out and you're actually hitting your shots, then it goes quite quickly. And Giants thus will be losing their first round on the second one. And Nora-Rengo managing to keep up, and we mentioned it before, a 4-2 split would be very good. And just look at the band fluke. Maverick and Thatcher are both gone. And that will basically force you to, well, basically be more defense-sided. Because it's just really hard to open up these walls right now, which are kited. What can you do? There's no Kali coming out. You can use the grenades to try and get rid of it, or you just walk through the choke points with a Finka boost on. Get the extra 20 HP, get the no recoil buff. That's exactly what Nora-Rengo is doing.
Wow. Giants, as I said before, it looked like you were caught a little bit by surprise. Maybe you didn't expect the pace and the passion Nora-Rengo were able to apply onto their site push, but you've got to try and step it up the second time round. You cannot really let a team like Nora-Rengo build momentum because they're very good at striking continually. At the same time, Nora have a bit of a breath underneath their wings now. It came and was built around great droning, great control of the space that turned into what was a very, very good pinch onto the site itself to get the plant down. They're looking to try and replicate the same thing, spending a lot of time outside the building, clearing the sides of windows, making sure they have their pre-placed in the positions they want to, and making sure they don't get caught and taken by surprise.
Quick opening happening, and one wall that isn't actually reinforced, well, is reinforced, but not, let's say, reinforced with any Bennett wires or Kaid charges, electric class to move in. Meaning it's a free opening. However, no one of Giants will be playing there. It will, however, relieve a little bit of pressure. As you get another entry point that is less contested, you have the opportunity to open up more effectively. Now, I'm kind of worrying what's happening here on the pantry window, as I see 2 people repelled up, but interesting. You know, the caster word here?
Yeah, interesting is always a word. When you see something that you don't see too often, and in your head, you're like, this is a bad move. But in their head, you're thinking, there's a play here. Interesting. And it's going to start with a bit of an interesting swing into pantry. The minute mark hits. Last time, this was the start of the push onto the site itself and came with great success, with the plant going down 10 seconds within them actually breaking boots onto the story above. Now the story below, and will the story continue to be threaded as Papilia just holds down inside pantry and waits for anyone else to try and apply the pressure on the opposite side. You can see Simotki underneath, and they're going to creep their way round, but Ramu is the first to find a body. Luna's off the board. Use Valkyrie, lose a precious bit of C4 too. 30 seconds though, and they've got to try do something. Ysera on a big roam looking for Finka. Finka catches them, but Yoshingo goes. Doesn't quite have the success they had before, and that is, again, if we're talking the C4 gone, Yoshingo gone with all those in pocket too, and those charges that haven't been used yet. Big loss in only the final 10 seconds. Smoke canister pops in the center, and Rami's going to try and dig over. Papilia has the cover, and there's the pinch that's come from the opposite side. Speakeasy wants to creep in close, but can't get the angle, doesn't know. The plant has gone down just behind the opposite ballast of the kitchen. Now it is a bit of a firefight with Ramu, no longer caught in the middle, but the trade comes down on Papilia. 2 big picks by Giants as all of the holds onto the diffuser has generally been taken. There's one more for measure, and they'll leave Papilia. Withstand. He's going to swing on. He's going to try a play that will make Bikini Body Medal. No! A 1 versus 1 now as we find ourselves with a Withstand. Hysterics is trying to stick himself. They want to pop and stop the defuse. There's the time and there's the pick! Hysterics with a triple in response!
I was thinking it's Papilia that got down. It is a Withstand. He can get himself back up, and it just didn't care about him after they realized the down might have been through. Almost winning the round right there. What an insane moment. Hysterics somehow clutching it out, but who else than him? The man is an absolute god. And Giants, they will survive, but just barely, because Nora almost able to win that round on the back of that, passive ability that Zofia has. As Zofia and Doc are the only ones to be able to pick themselves back up, and now, of course, the Chunker will get it soon as well. It shows how powerful Withstand can be, because that, just as well, could have been the round. If only Papilia would have used those concussions from below rather than deciding to go for the gunfight, then the win would have been there for Nora-Rengo. But man, that came quite close.
That went from 0 to 100 in a second. The momentary... I know we gave credit to Easy before. He built suspense there, cutting to Sophia as she got back up. What a round.
I am still trying to understand, like...
Just basking in it, you know? And
it felt so bad that they lost there, but also feels so good for Giants that they managed to win it. Here you see it again, look at that. Just to Withstand, use a double kill to come through. Now let's check, is there any concussions left? Because Hysteric starts defusing here with 17 seconds left. Yes, there is a concussion, goes to the knife, but won't be able to angle it. Alright, so that's why he went back up, but Hysteric's heard that. Went off the defuse, managed to get the kill, and plenty of time to go for the defuse still. Had a 4-second buffer. But so well played by Giants. That was, well, rather Hysterics. But a big mistake from the Maestro back then, not hunting down that last kill into Pantry. And let that be a lesson for every single one of you. That if it's a Sophia on the board, and you know you down someone, hunt it down. Don't just wait. Because it might come back to haunt you in the end.
double tap. The rules of the zombie and the rules of how to try and keep a lockdown and bit of control here. My word, 2-1. Didn't expect to be shouting that much that quickly, but let's see where this game starts to go. A lot of ferocity has come down. 2 plants in a row is a success story, I would say, for Nora-Rengo. Let's see if they can do a little bit more. Hysterics, you got to try and angle those a little bit further.
Maybe wanted to try and make a rotation, but after he failed, was afraid he might have been spotted out. Seems like they were aware of Yoshingo's current position. Now he's deciding to go for a different angle, different approach here. And slowly he will be getting himself ready. But Yoshingo seems to be aware though, as he's checking out the 2 angles. He might be coming from a pre-fire coming in. No, there is the wall bang. And Hysterics, the man of the moment, the last round will fall. And that leaves in a 4v5 for Nora-Rengo to work with.
Well, they've got a lot left to do still, but Nora-Rengo's best play has generally been built around their control. As I said before, they seem to have a good eye and good lockdown on where they can put a pocket of space and a bubble of safety in getting the diffuser down. This was obviously not the success story, but last time, it was a 4 versus 2. It's a much better growth here from Nora-Rengo between the 2 contrasting attempts on this site. The body underneath is trying to hit grenades towards the red and bread door and doesn't quite find Jordan, who's playing a little bit further back in safety. Simutki is the next down and executed by Isera with the English shotgun. They're trying to apply themselves up. That main core main entrance and staircase that facilitates it. But with the body and the Melusi, oh wow, and no more Papilia, well, that's a bit more of a problem, turning into a bigger problem. Ysera gets one more, puts us into a 4 versus 2.
We have a Giants, even though they lost out on the first kill, will be able to bring it back somewhat. After now, Shingo will be able to pick up yet another one. He's on 1 HP, however, has to be careful because look at the, well, utility still available. Might be 2 C4s available as Rami now loses the gunfight. It's a triple kill for Zero to come in. And he will be taken down as well. Jordan picks up the final kill. Shingo, while he was doing some good work for his team, took out Hysterics early on, but Giants are able to bounce back time and time again. And all this time the West End won't be there to try and save them the round, but it's just Giants to lock it out cleanly. And Giants right now 1-on-3 in front. Definitely doing good work right here. They need to have one more round at least to put themselves up onto a decent half. And let's make it 2 more to get themselves a good half.
3-1. Fairly good split so far, but some of these rounds and moments, they've been a bit tighter than you would otherwise think. It could obviously have almost been a very heroic 2-2 situation. But we're not there, and we're still pushing. Trophy statuary, and this was a very good attack from Nora-Rengo. They got in within their own time. They didn't rush, they didn't full suit to the Giants game, and if anything, as I said before, it felt like the Giants were a little bit tuned out, turned off, and not really paying full attention to what was coming. This time around, you know, they're a lot more expectant of the skill that Nora-Rengo's brought to this firefight, so you expect them to have a little bit more know about where the push and plant is going to be attempted.
Yeah, but the question is, will they change their approach, or are they going to be going for the same trick again? Like, are they going from Aviator games, and will we see Giants adapt to that? Because I highly doubt they're going to be... Okay, wait, they're using the pulse. They're doubling down on the C4 strategy now. But to be honest, right, they lost the side, but there was still opportunity for the C4s to hit. They just didn't know where they were, and now the pulse is coming in. Well, maybe Hysterics is going to be able to actually guide these C4s a bit better.
I think that's the thing as well that we're seeing here is, I guess we don't get the full taste and idea of how much the roam clear is coming by those pre-placed, but they are active and they are hefty. We're seeing a couple of Giants players, it's not that they're being tracked down. They're kind of being maybe found and, if a little, ignored at times, and that is allowing Nora-Rengo to try and push onto the site and set themselves up to pick them back up on these flank windows. On the bathroom hold up Astro Stairs, we've seen a couple of kills go down. You're looking at these possibilities of cutting them off rather than cutting them in half. Outside of that, Hysterics opens up by being removed. Papilia, who's on a bit of a tear this time round with something to prove and a lot of skill to do it with.
Well, again, Hysterics will fall first, Luke, and that is a couple of times in a row right now that Hysterics is not able to find the mark yet after he just, well, basically clutched around for Giants. That was the last time around on this bomb site, so he will no longer be able to do that. He will be, well, forced to watch the cams, to watch the information and make calls to the rest of his team, trying to guide them to victory, trying to guide them to make sure that, well, this time they do not overrun this site, and this time they will not be able to get the plan down and just shut down every single Giants member as a result. Speakeasy is still on that row. Of course, they're not attacking from AVGs this time. It seems to be a bottom-up clear. That means we might actually just see them completely ignore 90 and just go straight for landing, which would mean Speakeasy is in the proper position to go for a flank in a bit.
4-4.
As I say, they picks up a kill.
Yeah, balance backed. And I guess you've got a little bit of a thing going on here, because you talked about the power of the pulse and the pulse gets gone. Then you do the same and, oh, they're gone. You've got a bit of a curse going on there, Desert Chief.
The opening's coming in. Electric law not established or has been taken down from below, potentially. That means that the wall will be opened up. There is now a breach. There's now an opening that Nora-Rengo will be able to work with. A smoke will be tossed in, but will be eaten by the ADS. A second one will be tossed in, but just a little bit short of the door, just to make sure that it will actually pop and will provide some form of cover, some form of false security, because of course a smoke is not a wall. It's often people being caught out still because someone just moved through the smoke. Probably won't happen now, but as it got faded, Jordan has the opportunity to try and swing. He just doesn't know where Ramu is at this moment in time. Speakeasy will be able to pick up a double kill. Lunar now wants to go and peek on the bathroom as a pre-fire on that big LMG is coming in. Here we have it. The MPX will be raining in. The Repellion will be coming as well. Will he? No. He doesn't seem to be aware, but he picks up the kill nonetheless, and it's all up to Ramu now, who gets taken down by Jordan, who was still playing on that door and just swung him at the very last second. Managed to get that kill, and Giants managed to pick up yet another round, and that means they have, well, the amount of rounds they would like to have for a proper half, and let's see if we can make this a absolute godlike half.
That, for me, felt like the first round of this showdown. That was Giants in control. They didn't really need to stress and stretch themselves. They were already in position and anticipation of where everything that Nora-Rengo were going to throw at them was coming from. Sure, they lost the entry and they lost the opener, but they had that man playing loose wide and trying to get the intel from deep underneath. They didn't need to throw themselves into the gauntlet too intently, and as we saw there, Nora-Rengo, from what was their previous attempt that was pitched, it was very well put together, it was pitched, they knew the angle and knew how to hit and get that plant down. That time around, they swung in to what was active guns and active gunfights that just did not go in their favour. 4-1 is the split. This, the sight of a tale that I'm really excited to go back and watch later. Can they find something from the previous almost heroics Nora-Rengo and put themselves on a good balance of 4-2? In some people's books, maybe they deserve it. I guess it's down to them to prove it, though.
Will the withstand come in clutch again? Will Giants have learned from that mistake and hunt the kills? One thing is for sure, there's a little adaptation coming through. We see a Goyo here, picking up some shields upstairs, but we also see the removal of the Maestro, which was here the last time around. That means no more bulletproof chems we'll be able to use. We do, however, see that pulse. That means the cardiac sensor will be able to scan out these players, guide the C4s as well, as there's two on the board. Also some proximity sensors on the likes of Jordan. And that will be meaning they're playing a high information game. Having these prox alarms will probably let you know when people are actually still alive inside the pantry or when they're entering pantry. Or from the top, it depends on how it's being used, because Jordan seems to be the one roaming, and he might have put these proximity alarms in position to just, you know, secure himself from not being flanked.
Jordan's popping open the angles and trying to keep everything locked down in Astro. Last time, as we saw before, they didn't have the biggest dedication to the top floor, and this time, well, the dedication shot down quite quickly. Simutki wastes no time in taking care of the Jaeger. They're trying to apply all the pressure onto Jordan, who pulls himself down through the hatch and rotates back up to the stairs to get a slightly different swing and angle. Nora-Rengo blown out by Luna. Kind of sad that didn't happen a few more feet away towards Astro to make a joke there about the names, but hey, we live and learn, and unfortunately they don't. Hysteric swings round, though. They're retaking control with a bit of top floor dominance here, as Giants aren't sitting around to let Nora-Rengo play their game. They're instead going to respond, put pressure on the back, and that's going to force Nora-Rengo down Astro stairs and through the body that held it for so long. A 2 versus 2 has suddenly evolved in these little spit for spat firefights that are flittering across the top floor. They still need to break downstairs, but a minute 20 on the board, plenty of time for them to reevaluate, reassess, and then, if they need to, redeploy.
Nora-Rengo gets so many entry frags, and so far they haven't really been able to translate these into actual rounds. And well, this time it was Speakeasy that fell rather than Hysterics, who came in huge afterwards, but then went for a one-on-one trade on Yonshigo, allowing him to no longer continue with the plans he had. My question is there still a C4 available? Because smokes are being tossed out now. Lunar still has the cardiac sensor available to him to try and get this information out, but he has to be careful because Ramu's watching next to the smoke. He knows one will be creeping through there. It's almost guaranteed at this moment in time when you throw that smoke and give them the opportunity to go for that angle. Instead, it's Soulboy that will be trying to hunt him down, but he will be taken down himself, and Ysero will swing around the corner with the TCSG. The smoke comes through as well, and that will most likely guide a plan to be coming in soon, or at least a swing as the Grisma blows up and will concuss him for just a couple of seconds. Ramu is not going to be able to be pushing through as of yet. As he gets into the position, the cardiac sensor gives away the game, but Ramu will be able to get the better of him as he picks up on that kill. 9 seconds left. Ramu's all the way off site right now. He's trying to hunt that final kill, and Ysero will be found right here, and a pre-fire comes in. The TCSG will not save him here, and Ramu picks up the round for Nora-Rengo and put them up to 4-2. as you could have surely fell back a little bit further as the Kaid there costed Giants their 5-1 victory.
It was a little bit of a surprise kill. That wasn't as surprising as what went down the last time we were on that site, but we heard the bullets whiff and hit and kind of ricochet around the sides of the door. It just seemed, for lack of a better way, a little bit, when you're trying to find that last terrorist on T-Hunt in the guise of the attacker there, as they were trying to dig in. Oh, there they are. Oh, there they go. And I guess you're right. There could have been maybe a little bit more mobility from the defender there to put themselves into the 5-1 situation. You have only 5 seconds left. You can still play this and push time. You have a lot of space to rotate and move around. That's Villa. Villa is built upon space, built upon a floor that a lot of times teams just completely ignore because it's just space. 4-2. Nora-Rengo, you have your second, and now you've got your defenses. You've got some chances to put some good rounds on the board.
Right, defense time indeed. Giants were unable to close out the 5-1 that they were looking for. That gives opportunity now to Nora. Nora on that defense. I mean, they've been struggling this season. They have been struggling this year. However, the hope is not all lost for them yet. Because I'm quickly scrolling all the way back up to what, that one page I posted before.
Yeah.
They're currently, with the current point distribution, on a 7th place this stage. That is not bad. But if they will be beating Giants here, they will be raising so much in points that they might be able to make the major if they keep it up. And that is something to keep in mind. Nora, we might see them at the APAC Major fighting for some 6th Invitational points. Of course, it will be very unlikely for them to reach the 6th Invitational unless they win or become second. It's the same story for Fnatic. But it is possible. We might still see them at the 6th Invitational. Hope it's not lost. And especially not if you pick up Speakeasy that early on. Yet another entry frag here for Nora-Rengo. But let's hope that they can actually translate them into rounds more effectively in the defense.
The intel is coming out in full force here. They're not going to go anywhere near the study balcony. We see Ysera slip away and slip towards the main door instead. Wow, you run out. Who do you kill with a kind of wide aggro bit? Oh, you kill the flank watch before she can even begin to put those air jabs inside. You cause a lot of potential problems as that is your only cover on what we've already seen can be some electric rotation possibilities. Staircases. Hysterics has crept his way up red and trying to fire bullets across the landing deep into the site with Papilia looking to maybe counter it. Ramu is just going to keep himself a bit safe here. They've got the man advantage. They don't need to press too much further. It's now down to Giants to try and pull one back.
Need to continue their streak. As I said, 16 games in the regular season, only 1 lost, and they're not looking to make that 2 right now, as they're on a 16-win ratio. It's Hysterics that spots out Soulboy prone in the hallway, but Yoshingo will be able to follow up on that. We'll be dropping that diffuser as well. Ysera will fall. It's a very peculiar angle being made there with that shotgun. So now the Selmas will start blowing up into the game's room. Shotgun being chosen, but then again a little bit of doubt as the 3 members of Giants now have to fight a very uphill battle, as most of them are downstairs as well, to try and get a plan to even happen, to maybe even try and think about winning this round, because so far it seems to be going all Nora's way, especially Soulboy still inside the study, uncontested. Hysterics, he starts things off strong.
Well, he's trying to start things even stronger as he battles towards yellow stairs. There's nobody instantly pushing back, so he can hold the angle for now. They need to try and find some ground inside, and study seems to be the point of call, but Soulboy isn't too far away currently. Find themselves in between 2 different bodies and 2 different possibilities of push if Sophia tries to go up the yellow stairs. Luna Metal is the one on the opposite side. The smoke canisters go through. The C4 2 and Yoshingo is here to double down and add some support, but Jordan with the aggression finds one, and there's Soulboy with a bit of revenge and response. The peppers are coming out. Nobody knows where anybody has gone, but it is now just Jordan inside the diffuser being stunned and hit by the Banshee. It wails. And your final moments are all that's filled by Nora-Rengo. 3-4.
Giants almost able to bring it back, Deathloop. They were almost able to at least make something happen in that round, but Nora was spread too thin, you would say, but that made it kind of hard, as they were not packed upon each other. There was too many angles they had to clear, and just a little manpower to do so. And Giants, they will be losing 1 round of their advantage right now, 1 round of their lead as Nora starts creeping back up. And might this be the revitalized Nora we have been waiting to see, arrive onto the likes of APAC North? As it is a big name, and unfortunately they haven't been able to follow up with the required results. But taking out Giants here today, that would be something. That would make their name grow yet again.
It started with a swing out onto the study balcony that led to the death of Speakeasy, led to your control of the space, the roam, which Nora-Rengo was so adept at doing beforehand, and, well, from then on it looked like Giants couldn't quite get the comfort and the footing to alleviate the pressure so they could apply the push. You assume if they had the air jabs in place, they would have had a lot more confidence and probably a lot more pace in actually applying the pressure. It came down to a bit of a late-minute rotation of getting themselves up onto the study balcony. 4 bodies quickly dropped inside a single corridor half filled with smoke. One of those situations in firefights that, with a little bit of a difference in who saw what first, might have gone a completely different way. Either way, Nora-Rengo, you found a round and you have the possibility of locking it off and setting yourself up even footing for the first time since the second. Can you do some of the heroics that was on this very site that got you back onto level pegging before?
Drones coming out from the Nomad, Speakeasy, hoping to be not picked up. It's either him or Hysterics that seems to be losing their lives first. As Yoshingo gets a bit of a spot from one of the Prismas. Of course, will not be followed up with a kill just yet, as Jordan will be holding steadily inside of Memoriam. Lucy Ramu, that is, just rotated all the way back up, not going for that hunt either, as they do no longer have any real-time information. You see what Giants is trying to do there. You see 1 person all the way on the south. You see 2 people now running towards Art. It looks like an Aviator Games push that will be coming through. And it looks like, indeed, they will be going for that top floor take. Not even worry about the bottom floor, as they still have a member around there.
Well, all the bodies still standing for now, and Sarah's looking to try and see if he can catch anything through the bullets that have been popped through this window. But nobody is playing on the corner of Long, so you have some ground that you can start making your way inside Jordan. Applying some pressure from Terrace and looking to try and dig into the little connector antechamber. Soulboy is in the middle and just around the corner with Papilia. That is the one that Giants are trying to isolate right now. He has been cut off now from Soulboy. He has been cut off from that man in the middle, and, well, he looks like he's about to be cut off from his life, but he actually gets the first. Ramu goes down, and there is Hysterics getting Papilia.
There's just 70 seconds left, Fluke, and they just took out both the roamers. That means now they can start pushing towards the actual site, as the drones are just confirming that indeed no one will be left around landing. Simatuki, however, is playing quite close on the door right here with the English shotgun, the M59, able to swing, and the more you trust in that shotgun, the harder it will hit. And this is exactly what he's doing right now, putting all his faith into this one slug, into this one buck, but it is going to be Hysterics that gets the kill nonetheless. The pre-fire comes in. It's going to be going for the second one right now. There's a little bit of damage to Soulboy, but not quite getting the kill yet. And then suddenly there's a shield. You don't want to challenge that. You need to rethink. And that means the concussions need to come out and the impacts need to come out as well. The swing comes in from Soulboy. Managed to get him down, but not a kill before he loses his life. And that means it's now a 1v5 situation for Yoshingo, who gets taken down by the Nomad right after the air jet pops. The Giants are making sure they stay in the lead here, being 1 round away of a match point.
Well, I said I wanted to see what their attack looked like if they still had the Nomad and still had their flank watch, and I'm kind of happy that it ended in a way where it was exemplified. They had the control, and as I pointed out on the attack, we saw them habitually set up and isolate. They cut off the roamers, cut off the angles where they could offer some support and find any way of excusing themselves out of there, and well, with the air jabs too, it just locked down that solidity. They went in with a full plan and a full strategy, and they had a strand of an idea that turned into a thread that turned into another mark on the board for them. A first flawless for either team today, and it came out in maybe, again, it's Giants when they seem to be at their best. It's just hit and miss this game so far for me.
All right, Nora. You gotta step it up now. You can no longer leave any rounds into the hands of Giants. You see you pick up these entries time and time again, and let the defense, well, you managed to translate one of the rounds. Whereas Giants has been on the receiving end most of the time. I believe there's only 2 rounds where they get the opening kill themselves, right? Giants, that is.
Yeah,
I think all the other rounds went to Nora.
It's it. Nora, so far, have been really, really good on their attack. That was the thing about them, is on their game of finding a roamer worked really, really well, but it seems like Giants are a little bit better at carrying that close down. So far, at least. Obviously, we've only got a little sample size here. So far, they look very good at when they've got those roamers, then applying that same pinch pressure to the site. We didn't really get that from Nora-Rengo. It turned into a little bit of a scrap when they tried to actually break through.
Good camera here. A lot of information being gathered by Nora, knowing where the Ash will be entering from. Jordan, that is. Question is, will there be an operator? Will there be someone ready to try and intercept him? Make sure that you yet again pick up on that entry. And look at that, Hysterics is on the other side. He's in the living room. Both of them close to one another, trying to clear out any roamers that might be present on Nora-Rengo's side. But the roamers that are present are all on the top floor. They're in AVGs and study. Just making sure that this push that Giants want to be putting up yet again will be hindered as much as they possibly can. But the danger in this is as well that if you lose control, you're suddenly 3 men down. And you're in a 2-on-5 situation on the side.
Yeah, 3 bodies off-site, trying to keep themselves a little bit more locked in. Oh no. Speakeasy disconnected as they just go for the pinch. They might not know Ramu's dug in the corner, and they seemingly don't. It comes just a second too late there, but Soulboy is the first to suffer. The first of 3 on this side has fallen. Papilia 2, Ramu was the man in the corner, was a bit of surprise, but now the only surprise is that he's the only one left. Hysterics locks off Simoki on the site. There is the surprise, finally dropped in the diffuser too, but it's a quick response and pick up there from Hysterics.
Hysterics, when he peeked there onto study, actually got saved by the fact that he tossed in. Oh, as we talk about tossing, his C4 comes in and Jordan will fall. But I was going to say, as he just shot in, that one concussion basically made sure that Ramu wasn't able to hit his shots. He managed to survive and will succeed into picking up a double, a triple eventually. As now it's a 2-on-1 situation with 45 seconds on the clock. Speakeasy dropped early on due to a disconnect. Surely will be coming back soon if the problems are not too, well, severe. And Giants right now have the opportunity to be reaching that match point. Drones are being checked out by Yoshingo as the floor is being scanned, but nothing will be found. And as the time keeps on ticking, he manages to pick up the kill onto Ysera. Suddenly we find ourselves in a 1v1 situation. The last concussion was just used. Hysterics needs to peek the shield. Is he aware of the fact that he's right behind the shield? While Yoshingo is, the plant gets faked! But it's Yoshingo that eventually gets that kill. Nora-Rengo pick up the round nonetheless, even though Giants, they managed to bring it to a 4v2 situation and unfortunately lost that diffuser early on due to be droning out in the open, not realizing that Ramu was still there. And the rehost now will be called, of course, because a player has dropped and we need to get him back in. But Giants, they almost managed to pick that one up. A huge clutch to calm down. And very well played by Nora-Rengo.
Yeah, obviously it's a 3 versus 1 clutch. We see it all kind of build, and it was 1 versus 1s that fell, and from what was usually a very quick response of trades and pickups there from Giants, it just unfortunately fell through a little bit weak. We kind of getting a bit treated, as I said, to the great rounds of Giants. The moments as well that are consistent, you see Hysterics quickly responding to Ramu, quickly they're able to just isolate and cut off and go for that trades, and then occasionally like there, just things fall a little bit out of step against Nora-Rengo.
It does, and well, this one was basically down to a good individual play of the Valkyrie, just moving through, managing to pick up the kills time and time again. Yoshingo really clutched that one out and played that really smartly by instantly rotating back behind the shield. I don't think there was any impacts left on the likes of Hysterics, otherwise he would have surely taken it out as well. And as of course the concussion gave away, someone was in the room. He just didn't seem to be knowing that, because he went for that plant in a situation where, like, would you really go for that right now? Because, well, he probably thought no one was behind that shield. You know, he didn't really read the situation perfectly there. It can happen, but that costed him the round in the end.
Yeah, I assumed the same. It looked like he wasn't entirely sure whether someone was behind there or not. Because if we had a quick glimpse of him angle round towards it. I think he believed the rotation had come off and they'd maybe pulled away off sight, because at that point, with that little seconds left, why wouldn't you? But at the same time, obviously, it ended up costing him a little bit. And I guess they didn't really know how close Sophia was to the shield either. A bit of a scrap and spray and pray that you get it over the top of the shield, and did, just.
Well, that's the thing, right? If the concussion comes out, your vision gets blurred that much that the little small windows that are inside that shield, you're not going to be seeing if someone is on the other side, because, well, the difference is just so small in the actual color play. And in the end, when the effect wore off, you did indeed saw him move through. To the actual plant spot and went for the peak. And Shingo managed to win the round on the back of that. Basically that round broken down. Fact stays that Nora manages to pick up quite a bit of entry kills every single time, but nonetheless, Giants are able to bring it back to either a win or a very close round time and time again. And that means I'm counting Speakeasy leaving now as an entry kill for Nora-Rengo. Not that they shot someone, but they definitely had a man advantage from literally the start on without even having to take a gunfight. So, they managed to win that round. They should have won that round, but they almost lost it. And it shows how good Giants can be, that even with a man down, they are able to make these incredible plays happen.
Now, when you're looking at a situation where you're 5-4 against Giants, Nora-Rengo, though, you got to realize how desperate they are for the win here. They need everything that they can get, and taking some blood from the top team is more than a boon in their current situation. Throws them up this current phase 2 split, puts them with a lot of life and a lot of possibility of the big teams they also might be able to knock awry, and really stacks up all those precious points. I know you've got the maths and the numbers of how many they need, and I believe, how many wins was it?
3 wins for Nora is what they need to be able to make it to the major. I'm actually going to double check on that now. So just carry us away with a nice little analogy, and then I'll quickly look up how much they need.
A nice little analogy it will be, as we finally get the last couple of players in. Maybe analogy, maybe just a little bit of a fact, is for Nora-Rengo, this is a bit, not desperation, but I really like how their play has increased over the last couple of play days. It's seemingly had a lot of growth. Obviously, they went through a very bad patch in last phase. It was, even on the days where they would win, it wasn't massively convincing. And the days that they would lose, it was entirely, unfortunately, convincing. And here, it's fights all the way through to the end.
I just checked, so they ended up 9th in the previous phase. So phase 1, that is, of course, you get a lot more points for phase 2, about, I think it's 9% more points. But that does mean that they need 3 wins, and they need to have the higher book holds tiebreaker. So playing against Giants, and if they manage to win here, that would be a good start, because that would put them on 2 out of the 3 wins already. And you would assume, of course, that Giants is going to be able to shut down the middle of the pack quite effectively as well, as they would be going down to the 1-1. So you would hope that Giants gets at least 4 book holds tiebreaker points. That will put you up on higher on the scoreboard as well. It's hard, but they need 3 wins. Basically, that's the moral of the story.
That's it, moral of the story. And well, unfortunately, you gotta hope that if you're a Nora-Rengo fan, the story continues a little bit longer today. 4-5, they're back on the back foot, and they're closer and closer towards the potential of being able to pull things towards some possibility of success here. As I said, for me, a lot of the times that they've been able to take stuff is because Giants haven't really been on their best. Today, they've had these rounds, as we've seen, and as I've said, that have been exceptional, in these moments where that's Giants. Oh, that's the team that didn't get beat. But then they keep having these little slip-ups, little mistakes, get caught out in certain moments, and then, unfortunately for them, things just don't really go well. But still, unfortunately, the player is having some technical issues, so we'll hopefully be back in sooner rather than later. Because when you're on 4-5 and you're on this moment, you got to think that, for me, I guess this break, this moment to chat and have a conversation, might play better into the favor of Giants.
It could, because they just came off the back of a very devastating loss where they were in a 1v3 situation against the Valkyrie. One player gets caught off by C4 flying in, as probably there was a black eye guiding that one, considering he was on his drone. He saw, Shingo checking, is it safe? Is someone in study? Is someone holding the angle? No? Alright, here comes the Nitro. Picked up that kill. and then also knew exactly when to peek onto Trophy. So it seems like they had those cams probably on the bench of Red, or on the chandelier of Red, because that gives you the opportunity to look into 90 as well, while seeing the person on Red or hearing him. And that wasn't taken out. So if there is indeed a Valkyrie camera right there, that is basically what won them that round, or at least brought it back to a 1v1 for Yoshingo, which you could play out behind that shield. So like, it's all these little things, if you're trying to break it down, that in the end make the round play out like it did. And it could all come down to the single gadget, the single little black eye camera that you forgot to take out, or you just didn't know was there.
That's it. And I think one of the things that we've seen is the combination of intel. As I said before, the attacks have been very good at isolating the control. They were able to find the single roamer, usually in the case of Hysterics, who was deep underneath, and lock that down when Nora-Rengo on the push. Here, we've obviously seen they go for a 2-man hold. It didn't work. Let's try a 3-man hold. Okay, the hold in a weird way didn't work, but they still managed to pull the round together. That stuff happens. It's a 3 versus 1 clutch. But it still cites the fact that so far the attack game has been very, very well put together. Even though from both teams we've seen these Valkyrie cams and these intel gatherers that have been really well played, I will say so far, our example of Nora-Rengo have been a lot heavier in terms of getting an intel and getting an idea of where the push is coming from. We're seeing consistent Melusis across the board combined with Valkyrie cams. We're seeing a good grip on that live/static information, the audio, the calls, and a lot of Z pinging, I assume, is what is bringing them towards an idea of, well, let's swing onto this. Let's throw the C4 onto the red stairs. Oh, there's a body there. Yeah, we knew that.
The thing is, you mentioned Melusi here, right? And many viewers might be thinking, well, I don't hear any whoop whoops going off, so how impactful is she really? But that is due to the fact that the attackers are forced to take out these banshees right before they walk into them. So that means that impact, as charges or grenades are already being used to take out these gadgets to make sure they have no impact on their movement. And, well, of course, then it looks like, well, it doesn't have any impact because I don't hear any of the sounds. No one is getting slowed by it, but that doesn't matter because it's 3 pieces of utility you have to make explode, meaning there's 3 pieces of explosives less that you have. And then you bring it back again to, let's say, you know, that final round we just saw, that was a 1v3 clutch. You remember that shield that Yoshingo was behind? Mm-hmm. If only you had an impact you could use to take that out. If only, you know, like, and that's exactly where the Melusi comes into play. Like, probably 2 Melusis already got taken out, and that means that the shield wasn't able to be removed.
So the ETA is just about a minute until we have all of the players back into the lobby and get ourselves back into the game. So hopefully a little bit sooner. It's one of those things where you've just got to try and hope that Tech plays ball. But obviously you guys predicted, I'm trying to remember the split now. It was about a 60-40 split, I think, was in the favor of Giants, I believe, when we came into this map, which, to be honest,
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit giving. I think it's fair to say. It's not that Nora-Rengo haven't been good recently. They've obviously been on the up and up, but Giants are Giants. Giants are the team that managed to pull these potential unbeaten runs that have locked down 2,000 points twice across the 3 phases that we've seen, and they've come into the 4th with a win already, so it's not a lot of expectation for them not to lose this, but at the same time, hey, Nora-Rengo, you've got a little bit of support now back.
Got a bit of support. The people are starting to believe in you, and well, what is a better game to show that or believe that faith is justified than this one? If they manage to pick up the round, yeah, I managed to misspeak myself, mispronounce, yeah. But yeah, if they manage to pick up the round here, they are in a very good situation to potentially lock out a victory, and that is what they will be aiming for. Now, for those of you still wondering what's happening, Speakeasy had to restart his PC. Might not have a SSD, I'm not sure. He might be in the game already. But surely we are getting back soon into the game to find out how these last couple of rounds will go.
If he doesn't, that's where the winnings are going to go. Towards an SSD for faster booting into game. We know that there's loud sounds as you get to the Giant fan with the Giant Zero standing around and keeping an eye and a keen eye over there. So, hey, it is what it is. We got to wait. We got to let it play out and play through. Hopefully soon. It's one of those things where we just got to try and hope that things align. But talking of aligning, I like how a lot of today so far across the games that we've had, there was a lot of expectation of quick games. We saw these matchups. It's obviously the second of this phase where teams are still in a way being sorted to the usual kind of last play days where things are a lot tighter. So far, all the games have been a lot more intense than I think people expected.
They have been quite intense indeed, and the question is, how much more intense will it get? Will we see Nora-Rengo just absolutely play the stars out of heaven, or will we see Giants just bounce back as they normally do and just close it out in the in the usual 12 rounds without having too much issue to come through? Like it's all questions right now, and soon we will have the answers as we get back into game. And Giants still that one round ahead, have to make sure that they do not lose their lead.
AVG, the site of where we saw the first round come into the favor of Nora-Rengo. And it started with aggression, started with a wild and wide swing out to catch the Nomad trying to enter onto the main bedroom. Again, we're going to cite that intel, that information game, that game built around those Valkyrie cams. And otherwise, Malusi, who's been a little bit closer to the punch this time round. Pulse is actually the one that's being picked up and put into the situation. And I guess we'll see if it can get that considerate more control from underneath, because one thing to note is the underneath clear from Hysterics was quick, fast, and aggressive, and led to the start of what seemed like could have been some success if the fight on the top of the yellow stairs had gone a little bit different.
It's always these little small things, right, that make the big differences to the rounds, to the games. And, well, Ramu now hiding all the way in the basement might actually be able to go for a cheeky little pick as he is playing on that pulse. Has the cardiac sensor. Surely wants to be going for an unnoticed game style. Swordboy will be distracting them by just running out. And that might give them the idea that there is no one all the way downstairs.
Ramu deep, skulking and sneaking around the wine barrels and trying to keep himself out of trouble. For now, like a cat lazily resting, will be ready to strike sooner rather than later. But, well, talking of the ferocity of fanged and clawed beasts, Hysterics is creeping his way underneath via Mudroom and Art to just, again, get this instant control down. The rotation, the lock, and the roam needs to be under his game. And now it's the possibility of Ramu to sneak his way back round and apply some pressure on red stairs. You can see him keeping a keen eye on any of the paw prints that are being laid ahead and above, and, well, with the C4 in pocket and certain floors being ominous and certain walls being worse, you hope that this is going to lead to success for them.
Ramu just roaming around as Ysera. Putting up some explosives, some breaching charges, most likely open up some long angles for the G8 or 5.52, whichever one he uses to work with. As some of these verticals being watched here by Nora-Rengo surely will be working in against them as well soon, as they will be watched by these players downstairs. Ysera trying to take out the Electroclaws, but is just not able to get the right angle yet, but is quite afraid of actually peeking as the shotgun keeps on opening up these extra angles which they could be exposed from. You see Hysterics, he's looking as well. He's trying to get the proper side. He's trying to get the proper line of sight and angles, but they're just not able to find it yet as they're slowly working their way towards the side.
Well, now the pressure's coming in across landing with Luna trying to apply some underneath. They want to get their way in up the yellow stairs too, and well, it's the burning of the corner hat is actually going to be the play to make sure that there's no one dug in, as we've seen Nora-Rengo players play that before. But no luck this time. It was previously Ramu, and Ramu, who has just been caught by the drone, and look at the Giants players flooding their way towards him. Hysterics, thirsty for yet another kill on yet another roamer. They know where he is, they know where they need to fire, but they don't quite land the mark, and this is all precious seconds when you've only got 30 left. Ramu can play this for time, play this for space, and play this far away, because all it does is pull something else out of the attack on the site. Jordan is trying to dig the diffuser in. They lost Luna, but the C4 blows, and it gets two. Luna down as well! The triple C4, and it's just Hysterics left, but the angle was covered. An explosive that completely locked the round.
An explosive end to the existence of Giants here. As the one comes in, somehow gets the one at the left of the doorpost, who shouldn't even be hit, and gets it down into the one on the right. But it's nonetheless a triple kill that came in from that one Nitro that survives, or at least lets Nora-Rengo equalize the score up against Giants, who are now struggling, who are now trembling, because suddenly they find themselves into a situation where Nora-Rengo has the opportunity to, well, look out match point first. That is what is currently on, at stake here for this one round. Who will be reaching match point first? Who will be going in with the least amount of pressure?
Pointing out the fact that the Pulse was drawing a body further away. Apparently, it just turns out that the Pulse was luring Hysterics away from the C4 that swept an entire team. The only player that was standing not caught by that blast. I mean, if there's a highlight reel of C4s at the end of this, that's my current number one.
That's a very explosive entry into the top 5 C4s indeed, and I think that surely deserves one. But man, that is all right. Let me just write that one down for our highlights of the week.
Yeah, get that jotted down.
I'm just doing it now, you know.
Put that in your books.
Nora versus Giants, round 10, Nitro in the end, triple kill. Chef's kiss. There we go. All right, written down.
5-5.
It's noted.
5-5 Nora-Rengo, and goodbye Ramu, a player who's been a bit of a force since obviously stepping into the roster, is unfortunately removed early on. Hysterics, a player who is just considerably trying to get control. OMG. Is the response there, and I can only assume what happened. Where was he dropped? Okay. Top of the stairs. Top of yellow stairs.
That's an interesting. Where from?
You know?
Like, we don't know where he entered from. Would he just walked up downstairs
or
and
maybe
get the kill?
Either way, Hysterics doesn't want to stop. His W key is currently glued down, and he's making sure he can keep applying the pressure. Hits split, hits connector, hits Papillia as well, and finds his third for the round. Hysterics going hysterical as he very quickly realizes he needs to start applying that top player pressure. We know he is more than capable of. No help, but more than enough of an idea and more than enough of a gun skill to apply more pressure. Speakeasy finds one more, leaves it only down to Soulboy, but Hysterics wants the fourth. His ace was maybe stolen, his passion unmeasurable. Giants, match point.
Giants and match point indeed, after a very good round coming in there from Hysterics. I'm not sure if he caught it, but after he started tossing in, first a lifeline concussion, and after that followed it up with the impact, he actually managed to get it down onto the one behind the deer trophy, I think it is, like the giant stuffed deer, I think, I don't know.
Deer.
Deer.
It's a deer.
And finished them off afterwards as well. So, like, very huge kill. Double impact coming in right there for the actual win, and then following it up with a pistol kill. That is, well, Hysterics. We talked about his pistol skills in stage 1, but he's definitely showing them here again.
When we came into this game, and I think I'm not the only one in saying this, I didn't expect it to be this intense. With how these teams have been playing, with how Giants have been looking so solid so far, and Nora-Rengo have been better, but still not on that kind of moment level, it's forcing plays from players like Hysterics like that. You could tell he was, in a way and in effect, just a bit fed up of Nora-Rengo being able to catch them. The pace was too slow for him, and his response is what some of only the best players in the world could do. I am going to kill everything that gets close, with a pace that will leave Nora-Rengo's head spinning. What is going on? Oh no, they've got a 4K against us. That is just one of those moments where I'm trying to think if we've seen him push to this level recently, outside of the major.
Not too sure. I mean, we've seen him do crazy things in stage 1 where he just, on Consulate, for example, he just went in from the back of a long desk to grab his 1911 and just ran through. Checked the right of flags into the bathroom, got a kill there, then checked connector and got a kill there, just all within like 2 seconds. That was one of the craziest pistol kills I've seen as well. And I know he's a big fan of them, as often the pistols do a little bit more damage up on close range, and well, that is the reason why he actually chooses them. Not because you're quicker, not because of the extra mobility, but just because of the extra damage.
Now then, 2 minutes on the board and all the players still standing. Giants, they've taken a bit of a slower in pace, but their collapses on this site, the time it was successful, was brilliant. Their first close down, to be fair, on the time it wasn't, was also pretty good. They managed to find the 3 kind of roamers and won the overall body count trade. And they're going to start with the way they left off the last round. Ramu gone, Hysterics sick of this roam game, sick of the pressure being applied, and sick of just someone else too. Unbelievable couple of rounds for this.
Smoke being tossed up. We'll be dealing with a little bit of the line of sight as a player was actually on the top of the red stairs. It's Soulboy just holding with that shotgun with the M59, hoping that someone will be moving in soon. And with someone, we mean Hysterics, who was able to shut down both Ramu and Shingo so quickly into this round that suddenly we find ourselves in a 3-on-5 situation and make that 2-on-5 situation. The Speakeasy picks up yet another one. Lunar gets the kill, and similarly, it's all up to Simatuki. It's the smoke, but he will not last. It's Lunar to get the final kill. Giants will close it out in the end after it started to get a little bit sweaty for them. As Nora managed to creep up to 5-5, they just kicked itself into 6th gear. And for those last 2 rounds, they were absolutely unchallengeable. Managed to pick up that win and stay, well, unbeaten so far in this stage as they go 16 on 1 rather in win-loss.
A bit of a heartbreak result there for Nora-Rengo. They played very well, but you're playing very well against a team that you just forced to try and play at their best. Something, as I said, we haven't seen too much of being able to apply that pressure to Giants. And the step up there from those last couple of rounds, yeah, you made them... They sat forward in their chairs. They were tired of playing towards the end there. We will throw it over to the desk. I'm excited to just kick back and I think just have a look over the highlights of that. Take it away, Milush.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are back. Geo, Dev, we're sitting